It is Thursday, 25 August, year of our Lord, 2022. Thank you to everybody came out to the San Jose Improv. It was litty than a grandma titty. And my next stop is Chicago. That's right, Chirac, August 31st. I will see you guys. And major shout out to all the members of the THEA. Stand back, stand by. SAS. The Tamales Intelligence Agency. I am your host, Chingo Bling. We got producer DJ Big Rob.
What up, everybody? How's everybody doing today?
Bro, Monday's live hangout,
Yeah.
RPT hangout.
Yeah.
It was pretty dope, man.
It was cool.
Epic. Yeah.
You know, despite the technical difficulties, I think everybody had a great time. The Discord was lit for the rest of the day. We had new members, new agents signed up, and there was new blood in the Discord server.
Man, you made it sound like you was chumming the waters. What you mean?
I
new
mean,
blood?
you know, it's eventually it's going to be just a deep red ocean.
There was a new young lady that signed up, I think Yenny.
Yenny, yeah.
And she was like, how do y'all keep up? And all the memes are like, we're on it. You see all the memes of keyboards and people just staying ready.
I was like, you'll figure it out. And she did. She blended in really well for the first day.
And my wife tries to act like her Discord is way more lit than our Discord. But that's fake news. RPT Studios, puro pinche RPT, Red Pill Tamales. The Discord is always litty. It's a battlefield.
Fake news.
And yeah, man, very excited. Headed to Chicago next stop, Legalized Freedom Tour. Just a handful of cities left. Of course, I got to take my magic mind on the road, so I got to make sure that that's packed in my luggage. You know what I'm talking about? If you want to get you some, where do they go, bro?
magicmind.co/Chingo. Use that promo code Chingo.
Sauce and save you some money, Big Don. And don't forget, we coming to the West Coast, Big Don, Brea, California, September 14th. Oxnard, California, September 15th. Austin, Texas, September 28th. San Antonio, September 29th through October 2nd. Ooh, whole weekend, baby. Salt Lake City, October 7th. And then Las Vegas, Nevada. Sin City. Sin City.
What happens in Vegas
Stays in Vegas. Yes. Las Vegas, Nevada. Know what I'm talking about? It is THEA weekend, the THEA gathering. I think they tried to call me last night. I was already, the gummy had kicked in. They tried to call on the Discord, but they're like, yo, we need to know itinerary. We need to know what hotel.
Kick rocks with that shit, man. I'm trying to wind down, watch Game of Thrones. The new series is out, House of Thrones or House of the Dragon, and I ain't trying to talk to nobody.
Is it good?
Episode 1 was good. You know, most pilots, man, you know this, most pilots aren't great, right? Would you agree with that?
I think it's hit or miss.
It's very hit or miss,
Yeah,
right? And usually it's miss.
Sometimes they knock it out the park.
Very rarely. Name me one. I mean, I think Ozark was the last pilot I can remember they knocked out of the park.
Well, here's the thing, too. Like, for example, first episode of Breaking Bad, is that considered a pilot?
Yeah.
Like, that's something is that something they made to get approval, get greenlit, get funding?
I think any first episode of a new series, they always call the pilot.
I think that's a technicality, bro. That's word salad, bro.
No, that's what it is. Like, even at the end of the episode, the directors are like, you know, as shooting, you know, the first pilot, you know, the episode, the pilot of the episode, or the pilot of the series. They always refer to it as a pilot of the series.
See, yeah, fuck it. We just gonna call it a pilot. We don't care what y'all's Hollywood jargon is, Big Don.
Yeah.
We through trying to follow y'all's advice, talking about how to vote and shit. John Legend, I had to follow John Legend and be one of the 125 million motherfuckers that follow him, just so I can see how a leftist thinks. So check this out, bro. Before we dive into all the stories and all the topics, because you mentioned Hollywood and we're talking about seasons, and I'm over here twisting it into politics, bro.
No, I like it. You gotta it's all one at this point. It's all one.
This is Red Pill Tamales. Come get you some. So John Legend, one of the things he had posted, because I wanted to see how a lefty thinks. Now I know how a lefty thinks because I used to be a lefty Larry. You know what I'm talking about?
You hung up that cap?
Yeah, you know, I was just a lefty by default. But basically, John Legend had said, like, he showed some footage of a very disturbing, like, arguably alleged police brutality type of situation. I can't even remember what state. What was that?
It was in Arkansas.
It was in Arkansas?
Yep.
Okay, so I didn't even watch it because I didn't want all that negativity on my spirit. So basically, he posted the thing, right? The incident, and then he basically says, to all the conservatives that think, what did he conflate this shit with? Like,
please make it up.
It was like all the conservatives that are so upset that the lawful, play by the rules FBI did a legal, lawful, totally non-political search of Melania's panty drawer at Mar-a-Lago. He says, all y'all, I want y'all to keep the same energy when it comes to like to this or something. And I'm like, how did you manage to bring Trump into this? How'd you make this about Republicans and conservatives or Trumpers, Trumpansies, whatever the fuck y'all be calling people?
Can I go ahead and read you what he wrote?
Sure.
I assume all those conservatives outraged by the FBI performing a peaceful, lawful search of a serial fraudster and tax cheat who was illegally keeping classified documents will be proportionally outraged by this attempted murder by cops.
First of all, who taught you grammar, Mr. Legend? You are not a legend at grammar. That was a word salad run on. He was just like, lawful, unlawful, cheat, tax cheat. Like, bro, you're cucking for the feds, bro.
Not one comma on that entire paragraph.
No comma. I mean, I don't know how he writes lyrics. You know what I'm saying? Allegedly, he's good at that. But goddamn, this tweet made my head hurt. And I'm just like, bro, you managed to turn it into white people. You know what I'm saying? Trumpers, Republicans. Because in his mind, he might have been raised in this echo chamber where you get told, you know, they just almost like traumatizing people. Just keep lying to them and just telling them like, hey man, Trump is a cheat. The feds are non-political. They're not being weaponized by anybody. And he assumed a lot. He said, illegally keeping classified documents. We don't even know nothing.
Right.
The media is like, it might be possibly. And notice that every time Nancy Pelosi or anybody from the left or any of these Democrats or the media, anytime they speak on this situation, they always say, you know, we don't know. I mean, we really can't say because it could have to do with national security. I mean, there could be. That's how they keep the hoaxes going.
Yep.
And the normies just be like, bro, so I heard Trump had a nuke at Mar-a-Lago.
Well, in all fairness, he got his information from Brian Stelter and reliable sources. Like, that was his reliable source.
John Legend said that?
No.
Or we're assuming?
We're joking.
Yeah. He probably do, man.
Can you imagine if he's the only one? He's like one of the guys, like, who was the other guy the other day? Stephen King. It's just John Legend and Stephen King just waking up, watching Brian Stelter to get their reliable source.
And whoever's at that Delta terminal in Atlanta.
Which was you, unfortunately, a lot of times. Just watching CNN over and over, getting fed. Russia collusion, the hoax today. President Trump, which, by the way, kind of a segue here, but there was a comment on one of our YouTube videos recently from an episode where the comment was just so much... he goes, the comment was like, what a sad podcast. So much self-victimization. It's ironic. And I was like, how are we playing the victim here other than maybe saying like big tech is censoring these kind of conversations?
Honestly, bro, it's so hard to even begin to debate with people. There's one little person, you never know if they're even really a human or a bot or what, but I try to decipher like, okay, it could be some Mexican dude from SoCal or something, right? Because he's all like Chicano this, raza not Latins, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he basically is always trying to be like, I'm browner than you because I didn't vote for Trump. And I'm like, so voting for Biden makes you more raza?
Oh, gotcha.
And then he'll deflect, right, homeboy? Because I'm giving this person the attention. Like, I'm being patient with you and I'm going back and forth. Even though Lil Duval in his lyrics, you know, ain't going back and forth with you, putos. I'm living my best life. Because as we record this, it is my birthday. As we record.
That's right.
Yeah, ain't nothing I'd rather do than knock out some amazing red pill tamale episodes, brother.
100%.
Yeah.
They're spicy. It's getting spicy. You're about to go somewhere spicy with it. So how do you do that when you're going back and forth and you're trying to give somebody a little bit of time and maybe some room to justify their comments?
How do you what?
How do you do? How do you navigate a person like that who you probably are assuming isn't real?
It's probably, no, I think it is a real person.
Okay.
But I'm trying to, because, you know, when you entertain a clown, you become part of the circus.
Hey, holla, right? Kevin Gates.
And when you go back and forth with somebody, people from across the street can't tell who's the fool, who's the idiot. You know what I'm saying? So I'm taking the risk because I'm amplifying his message every time I reply to his shit. It like shows up, right? I'm not retweeting him, but I'm still doing a tweet response. So anyway, I'm just trying to systematically get him to think. So I'm like, okay, because he'll deflect and he'll be like, well, if I go to a Biden rally, there's not going to be Confederate flags and Nazi flags. So now you're just assuming that it was so easy to trick people. All they had to do was plant a couple fake little Confederate flags It could be an Antifa person. It could be a provocateur. It could be CIA. It could be anybody. It could be somebody that got ties from the CCP, somebody from Russia. Anybody. I mean, y'all haven't noticed that like TikTok alone has been weaponized to have people focus and know about certain outrage stuff, like, oh, we're gonna make up a dance and raise awareness about Ukrainian trans men who deserve to give birth and this and that, and you got everybody doing this thing. So it's like, it's information war, right? So I'm trying to tell this person, hey, bro, you're deflecting from my question. You're bringing up Confederate flags. You're bringing, like, I could go back and forth and be like, oh yeah, well, aren't there some Democrat pedophiles? Right? We could just be here all fucking day. Oh yeah, so all those groomer teacher, you know? And it's like, bro, you're deflecting. I'm asking you, if you vote for Biden, does that make you more street cred, more raza, more down? You know, does that make your socks grow? And do your socks get taller? Are you a downer fool because you down with Build Back Better? Big Don.
Did they ever give you an answer?
It's always like, oh, ready? This was his reply to that shit. Because I was like, bro, so are you more raza than me just because you voted for Biden? Right? And then, of course, I put the gif of Biden taking a whiff of the infant. You know what I'm talking about? That one little gif where they're like on camera, in public, at a fucking ceremony, and this dude cannot be around children. This dude can't control. It's like an infant. He just getting a big old whiff. So that's the gif I attached. You know what I'm talking about? Because, hey, the gloves are off, Big Don. Ya, se pasaron de la línea, compadre. Hey, ¿sabes qué? Como me llamo Pedro, güey. And so look, so this was his reply. At least me voting for Biden isn't supporting a racist who insults Mexicans. So I'm like, here we go again. It was so easy to just hoax people. It's like, we can't even get to policy. We can't even get to ideology. We can't even get to economics. We can't talk about populism. We can't talk about like how much overreach we're seeing. Like, we can't even compare apples and oranges. Like, okay, are you better off? Are we on the right track? Like, foreign policy wise, economic, like, they not even ready to have the convo. They're just like, thank POTUS for bringing down the $6 gas to $5.30.
All right, dude. Then let's work through this exercise. I've been liking this week after week. You've been kind of like randomly, or I'll say something that turns into an exercise. Here's the exercise for this Thursday episode. And I would suggest going back to the Discord for everybody that's in there and just, you know how you can, I don't know if you know this, but you can search people's like handles, search Corpitos Trompitos, and y'all were overlooking some of his fire ass comments when everybody was kind of going back and forth after the live wrapped up. But I noticed a lot of them, and he had some really good suggestions about like the, you know, what this podcast could do for the future Raza, right? So how would you suggest, possibly as an exercise, being able to change someone, because we always talk about you can't change people's minds. I understand that, but how could you maybe in a swift, slick kind of way get them to want to change their minds? You know what I mean? Like, how much info's got to be presented and to counter all of the Brian Stelters and Rachel Maddow, who, by the way, just re-signed a contract. Did you hear about this?
No.
Rachel Maddow, who went from doing a daily show to a weekly show, right? If I'm not mistaken, re-signed for, I believe, $30 million a year.
With MSNBC?
With MSNBC.
Huh. Okay, so you know what? TV anchors don't retire, they renegotiate.
Unless you're Brian Stelter, who was getting paid $1 million a year, and they're like, fuck you, we're not paying you that.
Okay, so no, he's just gone.
He's gone.
He's just gone. But however, in the case of Rachel Maddow, she just still had more clout. She was still like the main face.
Apparently.
And I guess when she was like, I think I'm going to just spend more time with my family, a lot of people on the right interpreted that as the rats fleeing from the ship. Like, they just see they can't cover for this administration. You know what I mean? This debacle.
Yeah. Or like what's her name? Was it Sarah B? Right? She's like a chick kind of comedian who had that show. Her show just recently got canceled too. We never talked about it. It was probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago now. And it's kind of just like a female version of, well, I would say, what's Homeboy? The late night show, the guy that we always talk about?
John Oliver?
No, the other
Stephen
guy.
Colbert?
Stephen Colbert.
Okay.
But anyway, she got like, her rating sucked, her show was terrible, and she was also like one of the biggest like anti-Trump kind of people in the world. So it's either like a testament to people are fed up with it and they're over it and they're just not getting the views, people don't care anymore, or are they just trying to like put money into certain people like your Rachel Maddows, and I don't know who else is really left after that, maybe Don Lemon.
And Rachel Maddow's gonna do the same exact show?
Yeah, allegedly, supposedly.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, she renegotiated. So in her case, you know, she came back, probably got more bread.
No, of course, and for doing less work.
So you just finished saying, how do we what's a good method to kind of get people to at least start to look at like the person I was going back and forth
pretty
with,
much, yeah.
Like it would just probably take so much time to debunk everything. You know what I mean? To be like, bro, okay, so the Mexican thing, you know, motherfucker, did he say all? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so now you're telling me there's no rapists coming through? You're telling me there's 0 MS-13 out of the millions of people. Yeah. All of a sudden, everybody's un angelito. So, no, déjalo.
Son santos.
Pobrecito. Hey, they're escaping climate, bro. We have to get to the root causes. Porque, hey, you're telling me that the cartel ain't making money over fists. You know, and with that comes crime waves, fentanyl. You know, the CCP partnered up with cartel. Like, how do you even begin to spoon feed? And I'd argue that Scott Adams, his approach is interesting because before even getting to the debunking of the hoaxes, it's more like, let me just explain to you how the media works, and let me explain to you like how the human brain works, like in terms of opinions get assigned. Like when somebody comes in, it's like, you need to thank POTUS, or I have to raise my daughter in a country that doesn't believe in her reproductive rights. And it's like, you haven't broken down how linguistics are used to manipulate you. Like, wait, reproductive health, reproductive rights. Whoa. It's like, keep your hand off my, you know, these state forced, what is it?
What is it?
Government, wait, real quick. Government forced births.
Keep your rosaries off my ovaries.
Yeah. Dude, my homeboy who's hardcore Catholic, right? I sent him, we were chit-chatting about other stuff. And I sent him how the Atlantic was trying, I think it was the Atlantic, but a lot of these kind of lefty liberal publications started basically demonizing Catholics and like Christians and pro-life people simply because the pro-life movement aligned with the MAGA and Trump. Meaning, hey, these pro-life people have been trying to get their agenda across for years, and finally somebody, they felt a little bit more, I don't know, priority, or I don't know what the deal is, the PAC money, who donated to who. But long story short, it became politically convenient to be pro-life and whatever. I'm not saying they only being pro-life because they're like, man, these Christian nationalists, boy, they own it.
Yeah.
You know, but fuck was I saying about this pro-life? Oh, the rosaries, right?
Yeah.
Because you said keep the rosaries off the ovaries. So basically, I was telling my friend, I was like, are you aware of this? And he was like, oh, this is for real? He's like, I thought you were just sending me a meme of the nuns where it says like, how dare these radicals open carry like that? And it's the nuns, they all got their rosary, right? And he was like, bro, I thought you were kidding. Like these little memes and pictures and these tweets or whatever. He's like, this is for real? It's like, yes, sir. Yeah, like they're demon. I was like, they're next on a chopping block.
Sir, have you not been listening to RPT?
I mean, they're treating the pro-life people and the Catholics and all these folks like, now you a pariah, like you next on the chopping block. And how dare you, now you an extremist, bitch. It's almost like Trump is still radioactive. Like, don't go there. Stay in your fucking lane, stay in your place, and don't be asking about who went to Epstein Island. You know what I'm saying? Don't be a little conspiracy person saying, hey, what happened to Ghislaine Maxwell's fucking address book? I mean, her client list. You know what I mean? And don't be asking where the money went for this and why these towers fell. Don't be asking that shit.
You know, the shit we talk about is so hard to get through our particular audience's head, right? You know, I hate and help
man.
me.
You calling my people hard-headed, Big Don?
1,000%. Hard-headed doesn't begin to describe. I mean, we got some of these hard-headed people in our Discord. Love them to death, but still, nonetheless,
I'm hard-headed.
Oh, I know. I've known you for going on 5 years now.
Come on now.
Well, how old are you now? 39? You turned 39 this year?
43, Big Don. I ain't got no stage age. You know what I'm talking about? I'm a stand-up comedian. I'm transparent. I'm all about honesty, and that just happens to be what's funny.
Well, look, the people who listen to the show, I mean, you got to think how many more of them are out there, right? Our population is so big. Like, it's eventually going to be the majority. And people, and, talking to Manny, who we've talked to a couple times, he uses this phrase where it's like, we're the silent majority, basically, right? Like, that's just what it is. And that's why you guys are so important to spread the clips and the messages and the videos and the podcast, because if you have friends and family on your feed, a lot of you still use Facebook, you use your Twitters and Instagrams, the people who are in your immediate circle will probably resonate with a lot of the stuff we talk about if they see it. But if they don't see it, then all you're left is with the left-wing media, narrative and information. And that's what they're going to go off of. That's why it's been so hard to penetrate through. Honestly, how many other Latino Americans are doing what we're doing, talking about what we're talking about? I can't really name you one mainstream, and I consider you mainstream to that degree. You know what I mean? Is there another one? Like, is there another Crowder? Is there another Chad? You know?
Well, I mean, obviously, you got like a lot of people doing a lot of good work who happen to be brown, right?
No, for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, in this space. No, but I mean in this space to this degree. Like, it's got a podcast or YouTube channel or has a stage presence literally across the country.
Oh, like like entertainment.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because no, there's like obviously.
Oh, there's hundreds and thousands of people. Yeah,
Jorge Ventura and.
Right. He's a journalist. He's a real journalist. Exactly, that's what he's supposed to be doing. Like, that's his job. This is something that you've taken as an avenue of your overarching umbrella of music, comedy. Now I'm trying to put some game on you about what's going on in politics.
And hopefully folks that identify as Democrat or I'm raza, therefore I vote blue, homie. Like all them folk, hopefully they can at least tune into this one day in the future and at least take away, politics aside, at least take away something that has to do with like, either like, I'm actually curious about economics now, or you know what, I was always intimidated as to how the system worked, or you know what, I feel like I can hold a convo about, you know what I mean, whether it's like, say we had a dope episode on Ukraine, or you brought in some good info on Roe v. Wade, or whatever these topics are, where they basically just kind of trick you.
Yeah.
Like we brought up the example that Juan Big Stoner posted, where it's like the anatomy of the headline.
Yeah.
Where it's like, DeSantis is problematic.
Don't say gay.
Something, don't say gay bill. And it's like, bro, it's all like false, fake. That's not what it's called. You know what I mean? And hopefully people can at least understand like, oh, okay, you can't be a mind reader, you know, or you can't assume, you know, because what they did to a lot of people, not just Latinos, is they branded Trumpers, right? Anybody who's motherfucking MAGA, America First, Red Hat, whatever. They branded the Trumpers as like, ew. Let me find out. You sound like a Trumper. Like this one female actress that I know, she's pretty big time, so ain't no need to put out her stuff. But I know her. I've worked with her in the past, right? And like probably in the beginning on my Twitter when I first started dropping these hot ass facts, you know, these good ass gems, you know, these hot takes, like a hot tamal. It was one of those like, oh my God, you're ew. Like Chingo, don't tell me you're a Trumper. Like, you're sounding like a Trumper. You know what I mean? Almost like, ew, delete that tweet, stop. You know, and it's like, well, this is how I see, you know, this is listen to the other side of the argument. Like we can't just take it what's
lying
the word?
Down?
Yeah, no, not take it lying down, but like face value. Like just because you gonna name the trillions y'all spending, just because you gonna call it Build Back Better, or you gonna call it Green New Deal, or you gonna call it, you know, the Save the Puppies Act, or Inflation Reduction Bill, or whatever, it doesn't mean that that's what it's gonna do. It doesn't even mean that it's good. It doesn't mean that it doesn't include 85 other bullshit ass things like, oh, by the way, you got this many armed IRS coming after people that make under whatever, 100 grand, 200 grand. You know, and it's like, oh yeah, I didn't know that. It's just that, you know, USA Today told me that it was going to be good because it was for the climate.
Well, that's a perfect to piggyback off what you said at the beginning of that was, you know, hopefully in the future, self-proclaimed
That's
Democrats
the only hope, bro.
Listen,
the future. That's the only hope.
There is, because it's not going to be tomorrow or next month. It's going to be a while, but I think inevitably they'll get there, because if it's not age that gets you to that point where you're listening to a show like this saying, oh, that makes sense because maybe you've kind of ramped down your lunacy in your head and your TDS is kind of ramped down a little bit. If it's not age, it's going to be circumstantial. You're going to have a kid in school that something bizarre happens that gets you to lead to believe that, oh shit, I've been lied to. They've been pushing some shit down my kids' throats that I was blinded to because I was susceptible to the mainstream media's narratives, or whatever it is. It'll be some circumstantial instance, or it'll just be age. You'll just get to the point where you're like, all right, this is some boo-boo shit.
Yeah, so what we ask is everybody just tell, I'm going to tear a page out of Michael Berry's book. Tell one friend.
Yeah, that's good.
If you enjoy the podcast, if you get value from it, if you enjoy it, if you like, well, you know what I mean? If you like to hear a different perspective from two coconuts in a studio, RPT Studios, tell one friend. We appreciate it. That's how the show has grown to this point.
It's true. It's true. Speaking of Michael Berry, it's funny to hear him. He does like ad reads for certain businesses on Tim Pool's show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'll be listening to Tim from time to time, and you'll hear Michael Berry talk about like classic Chevrolet, like if you're in the area looking for a new Chevy vehicle, you know, look no further. And it's just like, that's so funny. It'll be whatever else. And it's just, you know, it's him.
So if you hear a classic Chevrolet ad on Tim Pool, are you listening to Tim Pool where? YouTube, Spotify?
Apple Podcasts, just from that.
Oh, I'm curious how that all comes about. Like how a Houston-based...
They have, whoever their advertiser is, whether it's like Megaphone or Advertcast or whoever it is, they'll put native ads in post for the demographic. So if it's a regional, it's just like radio. I'm sure you could probably explain radio ads way better than I could.
Oh, so basically, if you're listening to Tim Pool in Houston, you might hear an ad that you won't hear if you listen to Michigan.
Correct.
Oh, I didn't know it did all that.
Yeah. But you have to be on a show of his size in order to be able to get access to that.
Tell a friend. Everybody tell one friend.
Yeah, that was the whole point of me bringing it up. Tell a friend so we can get to that size because that's where a lot of the power is, right? You're hiring Michael Berry to run ads on your show for the Houston market when you're in Maryland or West Virginia, wherever the hell he is. It's the direction it's going. I told Sol this yesterday. I think she kind of brought it up too after the fact, but no one's going to be watching TV, terrestrial TV later on. People are kind of carving out their spaces on media right now, media like internet media, podcast, YouTube shows, live stream shows, panel shows, interview. All these things are only going to be on the internet, man. And hopefully it becomes freer to where you're not being banned and deplatformed in the future. But regardless, people putting in the work now are going to be the ones who are going to be your MSNBCs and CNNs and Fox in the future, but on the internet.
Okay.
That makes sense?
So you're saying anybody who covers politics on a podcast or an internet period is going to be like the future MSNBC?
Oh, for sure. I mean, the demographics of your CNNs and especially Fox is, I think it's 55 and above or 60 and above is who watches Fox right now. CNN claims to have some of the key demographic, but it's more so in like late 40s to late 50s and beyond. And that's really your top two, right? I mean, I guess the same applies for MSNBC and the other shows, but the key demo is going to be on your Crowder, Breaking Points, Tim Pool, a lot of the Blaze shows, Glenn and all those other people. Like those are just prime examples of people that have been carving out their spots, their corners on the internet. Because I don't get home and put on TV. I get home and I put on Rumble or YouTube. Like that's it. Or I subscribe directly to the Blaze or to Daily Wire. I don't turn the TV on to watch the news. Not even local shit. Not once.
No.
And that's just. I mean, if. As millennials and as an elder millennial,
hey man, watch your tone, bro.
I knew you were gonna say
on my birthday. Watch your tone on my birthday, big
as
guy.
An elder millennial and a younger millennial, check, homie. That's just what we do, man. And our kids for sure is hell ain't gonna be watching terrestrial TV to find out about news. There's just no way.
But keep in mind that the CNNs and the Fox Newses of the world are on Apple TV, like they are on YouTube.
You're right.
But they're allowed to stay on YouTube and monetize on YouTube.
You're right. But who are people of a younger minded whatever, who are they going to tune to? The 60-year-old anchor on Fox or the Beto O'Rourke looking, Rachel Maddow or Chingo Bling? Like those are your choices.
Yeah, well shit. You know what I'm saying? Follow the sauce. And don't slip on the drip.
There you go.
You know what I'm talking about?
That's good shit, man. That's a good little rant.
Sauce. Man, I've been reading a whole bunch of books, bro. And then shout out to Juan Big Stoner. He brought me like a little 6-pack of pinches libros. Das puto. Catch up.
How do you eat an elephant?
One page at a time, fool. One word at a time, big dog. And so yeah, man, all this shit's interesting. Like all the stuff we talk about, and as we talk about the media, how dangerous and what kind of disservice has the media done? Like coupled with our educational system where kids grow up to be these adults, and me included, like you get manipulated by the media, like you hear this, you see a tweet, like it's almost like you can't be mad at some people if they're too busy working and they're in a news bubble. So you might know somebody, like for example, around the time of the Trial Rittenhouse thing. Hey man, you heard about the Kyle guy? Oh yeah, what happened? Did the verdict? Yeah. Dude, kid got off, bro. If that was a black kid or a Hispanic kid, I guarantee you it would have been a different, and it's kind of like, well, do you understand the intricacies? Like, do you understand what they told you versus what really happened? And it's such a disservice that big tech and the algorithm helps perpetuate some of these lies. And now you got people like Dr. Naomi Wolf, who was on Michael Berry's show, is breaking down some of this data. And she had got kicked off of Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. But she's like, look at the miscarriages. We told y'all about, can I say this? Can I say pericarditis, myocarditis? You know what I mean? Like the blood clots, like all this stuff. Sorry, y'all. I think the camera's cut off.
It turns on real quick.
Okay. Patreon.com/Red Pill Tamales. Also, we are on rockfin.com/Red Pill Tamales. So I'm painting the picture of this information war and how, it's important that we kind of have these discussions with people in terms of, hey, bro, you can't be a mind reader. Like, don't go around saying, you know how white people are. Yeah, they don't want us here, bro. Oh, they like our food. They like our women, but they don't want us here. And it's like, you're reading the minds of like all white people. And then you might want to break down like, well, do you know how white people are discriminated against these days? How college tuitions, you better off saying you a minority. You better say your last name Sanchez so you can get your little scholarship, maybe get in. And if you're Asian, más triste. If you Asian trying to get into Princeton, bro, they like... Psh.
They're finally going to tackle that, the Supreme Court.
Finally.
Affirmative action.
But guess what? Minorities, meanwhile, are being told that it's the white man's world and they keeping us down and they don't want us to make it. And it's like, you're telling children this. You're no longer telling kids like, hey, judge others on, they're cool or not, like character, merit. You can't just go around being like, oh, this guy Rob. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wait, he's a Trumper though. So yeah, fuck that guy. He just fucking wants to be white, bro. He's whitewashed, bro. It's fucking whitewashed, bro.
I'll talk about this next week when we have both cameras back in, because it might be a longer rant. But my mother got her U.S. citizenship last week.
Oh, what?
Yeah, and I was congrats to Mama Garza after 30 years in the United States as a resident.
She finally went in. She said, "You know what? We ain't getting no younger."
Yeah, man. She just took it upon herself to educate herself and did the whole thing literally almost by herself, with the exception.
You didn't make flashcards, bro?
She did everything on her own. She like learned it all herself. She found out techniques. She found YouTube videos, resources on the immigration website, and all that kind of stuff.
A practice test.
Yeah, practice test.
No shit.
All on herself. Yeah.
Damn.
And so I went with her the first time to translate. Because before apparently they didn't let you do it in Spanish. It only or whatever your native language was, it had to be in English. And then as time went on, I don't know, in like the 90s or something, they made it to where you can do it in your native language. Anyway, long story short, I'll talk about this again next week. It was cool to see at the ceremony because of COVID. Like usually these are like graduations of thousands of people. It was like restricted to like 50 people at a time. So her day finally came up, and that was, we still had to wear masks in there, which was so frustrating. But I'll tell that story again next week. There was so much to it, because you had the shitty people that work for the government, and you have the amazing people who want to see you succeed and become a citizen and all that shit. I I had run-ins with all those people myself. But
what do you mean?
Like just disgruntled workers who were like, oh, this isn't signed correctly. Just trying to make it harder to just like get through the door and the metal detector and to the seat and to the room, the auditorium. When like halfway through, you run into the nice people who are like, oh, this way. Oh, don't worry.
Hey.
Here's my pin. Here, do that.
Meanwhile, the southern border's wide open. It's like, damn, y'all making it harder for the people trying to do it the right way.
Exactly, right? So we'll talk about that. Yeah, for sure. But the Oath of Allegiance. Are you familiar with the Oath of Allegiance?
A Pledge of Allegiance?
No.
Hey, we get updates because it was Penny's first day of school, and they send like video clips and stuff.
Yeah.
And I saw all the kids lined up, but I couldn't hear. They were standing there, right? And I couldn't hear what was going on because my wife had her headphones on. And I'm like, oh, they're doing the Pledge of Allegiance. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, they were doing it while you were there?
No, I wish. They were doing something else, like vows and then dancing and like playtime, nature walk.
Oh, gotcha.
Playground, nap, lunch.
You got your phone in front of you or with you?
See more.
All right, so I'm gonna text this to you, and I want you to read it because there was let me set the picture real quick, just briefly. There's a room of about 60 people. I mean, from all over the world. There was some, and I told Don this. There were about 3 unimaginably gorgeous women who I was like, if they find the right guy, they ain't got to worry about shit. They were so like drop dead gorgeous. They were like Asian looking. One would look like just like really exotic looking. You had people from the Middle East. You had clearly people from the islands, and just all kinds of people. And they all at the end, they give them a little flag, like a tiny little flag you would get at a parade, and then you raise your right hand and you read the Oath of Allegiance. So if you want to read that, and just think of the things you and I have been talking about for almost 2 years now, 2 years in December. And I'm standing there as a U.S. citizen who appreciates it, who has my We the People wristband over here, and this is what all these people from all over the world are literally like. Some of them like in tears that they're getting to read this. But go ahead and read it.
How amazing, especially if
so crazy,
dude. Imagine people escaping socialism and communism,
which a lot of them were,
and all the ills that come with it.
Yep.
Oh my God! And these fucking goofies, this regime. I'm about to read the Oath of Allegiance.
Okay,
but. You got this regime, bro. Like they, it's climate justice, and it's like, man, get off the boo-boo. Yeah. Or like when the Cubans were trying to rise up, talking about libertad, they're like, no, they're just upset they didn't have enough jabs. Chucky, why are you lying?
That's their job. It's their job to lie.
Why the fuck you lying? Oh my God. Oh, we fucking lying. Oath of allegiance. I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, how you say that? Potentate, sepa la madre, potato, state or sovereignty of whom or which I have heretofore been a subject or citizen, that I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Let me read that part again. Hold up, screw, bring it back. I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will
bear truth.
Sorry, man, I got a crack on my screen. That I will bear truth and allegiance to the same. That I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by the law. That I will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces. Hold on now. Hold on, you about to draft me? Of the U.S. when required by law. Okay. That I will perform work of national importance under civilian direction when required by the law, and that I will take this jab. No. And that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So help me God.
Congratulations, you're all now U.S. citizens.
I'm a citizen now. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you, dog.
But it was a pretty cool experience just to see all these people that, like, who knows how long they've been trying to go through their, immigration process, where they came from, what they went through.
Oh man, I'm surprised, man. Your mom just now doing it. My parents been citizens.
Yeah, she said she literally should have done it 30 years ago. She just didn't. It was one of those things where like it's I can't do it. It's not for me. I won't be able to do it. But just putting these negative thoughts in your head that it's like it's something it's out of reach when really it's not. And it's kind of a metaphor for a lot of things that people in general just put in front of themselves for no reason. It's all just self-doubt. It's all just I can't or I won't or it's too hard.
Yeah, I ain't got time for that shit.
Yeah, no. Yeah. But that was pretty cool. Yeah, those people were, it was just crazy to see some of the people's just like they just sat and kind of just took like a big sigh. Like,
and you know what's so amazing, bro? That if you contrast those people and that emotion, that feeling of what America still represents to most of the globe,
of course,
many people, and to maybe half the country. Damn,
only half.
Hey, man, here's my point, okay. and then you're gonna be like, oh shit, yeah, okay, maybe half. All right. So contrast the people who just got their papers and did the oath of allegiance. That's how I like to say it. And then put it up against the regular, spoiled, entitled, dare I say, lazy, ignorant Americans who don't even like America. That they're just like, ew, that's way too patriotic, ew. What do you think about people who wear a flag on their shirt? Ew, wait, why? Gross, Trumper. Yeah, I grew up in Kansas. We saw a lot of that. A lot of what? You know how they are. Who?
Patriotism.
Trumpers, the white people, Republicans, conservatives want to tell you gotta give birth and you can't kill the baby.
Contrast that.
The emotion and the feeling of people who are either from like Venezuela, Indonesia, like name a place, Somalia, like the people from all over the world who come to work, bust their ass, contribute, love the country, and make it great again, versus these spoiled ass, ignorant, brainwashed, bratty ass kids, and I blame the parents. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do not let your kids be all woke. And sometimes the worst tragedy is when the parents are actually up on game. Like the parents know how to use a firearm, but the kids don't. You know what I mean? The parents know about the dangers of socialism and communism, and the parents understand certain things. But then you look at the kids like, bro, what the fuck? What are you doing? Why are you not? Look, what's going on? Well, man,
a lot of other commentators will make the point that in the future, it actually, here's to paint the picture of a glass half full, rather half empty, is that because the left is aborting their kids, they're converting their kids, they're, having them undergo these surgeries, or they're just altogether not having kids, though the future is going to be much more of a conservative, patriotic nationalistic first kind of country and globe, because just by the numbers, there's going to be less of these crazy woke leftists than there are of the alternative.
That's assuming that the conservative parents who are pro-life are raising the kids and raising them well enough to combat all the ignorance and the you know what I'm saying? That's a big assumption. So if you have, let's just say 100 pro-life people that they're actually having, 3-4 kids or whatever, we're assuming that they're raising their kids in a way where they understand, like, okay, if I hear my teacher say XYZ, I got to be up on game. If I hear a news story where I've been taught to understand, oh, they're demonizing Christians, you know what I mean? Or, oh, they're spinning some shit. I don't know. I guess one of my fears is, you can't control their every little fucking move. You know what I mean? Especially like if you got a kid that's back and forth and they allowed to be on TikTok. And before you know it, what's top of mind to them is the dance that was choreographed to raise awareness about Ukrainian trans men who deserve to give birth, right? When somebody off the street might be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, you haven't heard. It's a big issue, bro. The dance, Ukrainian trans men who aren't allowed to give birth because Ukraine. And it's like, I have no idea, bro. I'm just over here in Midtown trying to get my oil change, and I don't even know. Like, that's news to me. You see what I'm saying?
But I think it's like, and I don't think it's that. What was the phrase you used? It's what to think that it's what did you say?
Well,
in order to think that.
Well, yeah, we're assuming. We're ignoring the whole variable of, like, sure, a lot of abortion-friendly, don't want to have kids, people that happen to a lot of times be on the left. They taught the women that your career is more important and whatever. And boom, they don't want to have no kids, so they stop multiplying, so you have less of them. But then you got these people with these values that don't know how to, they can be like, shut the fuck up, mom. You're a tax cheat. You're a fucking QAnon, and you got tinfoil on your head, and you over here stressing over these IRS when really Biden's just trying to build back better.
Well, I mean, yeah, damn, that's a really half glass empty kind of a view of it. But if you think of it, I think the statistic is 3-1. Like, you have like conservatives having 3 kids to a leftist 1, and then let's just say they're all, for the sake of the fucking argument here, that they're all big Trump supporters, right? And maybe one of the 3 kids becomes a woke kid. So now
you got 2 on 2.
Yeah, you got 2 on 2, right? But then you have them, the majority on the left transitioning. Now you're back to 1, right? Or 1.5. Either way, the numbers play out for those on the right. If you go through like each thing, like schooling, you have more people going to private schools or homeschooling, and then you have people moving out to the suburbs, rural area. Like just over the last like 5 years, I think all of these numbers have favored people who lean right just based off of their values because they have a moral compass. A lot of people on the left, arguably, they'll say don't have that kind of a moral compass.
Moral compass of what? Abortion?
Family value. Family values and all that kind of stuff.
God.
Yeah, God, and so on and so forth. Country first, all that stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the future's bright, but it's gonna take work. I mean,
and that's why the feds are clamping down. You heard they went after the Amish farm?
We played it last week.
Yeah.
Rebel News was out there talking about how you shut it down, and we're also going to fine you hundreds of thousands of dollars.
300,000. We're going to fucking put the squeeze on you and attack you economically.
Well, do you think about it? Penny, you just said earlier, you kind of glossed over it, but today was Penny's first day, right? Of being in school, away from her parents, and like starting that path that we obviously have already done, and everybody listening has.
And of course, I drop her off. I'm like, who's strapped? Who got the gun?
Where the security at?
Who got the gun? Do I got to goddamn open up the fanny? Okay, go on.
Well, she's, how old is she? 5?
4.
Should be 4. Pre-K. So 4, I mean, dude, in 10 years, I look at it 10 years too. The kids will be 8 next month. So by the time they're 18, by the time Penny's a freshman, by the time our kids are in high school, there needs to be a course correction on a lot of the things that have been seeded in the kids right now's heads so that the next generation going up, after them aren't so confused.
Yeah, especially like the race and racism.
And you said it perfectly last week. It'll fly like that.
Oh yeah, the 10 years is a blink.
Yeah.
One day they're singing "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star." Next day they're in 9th grade.
Yeah, one day you're doing Mañosa videos, and now you're talking about Trump.
Yeah, now you're 43, still having Mañosa activities on the side. You ain't documenting your mañosa activity.
We got to get ready for a special guest. So let's send them
sure.
out. Let's send them out, and then we'll see them with the special guest, and then we'll see them back on Friday.
Yo, I enjoyed this episode. I hope y'all liked it. I know we didn't go nitty gritty into like, what did Marjorie Taylor Greene, and we didn't
tweet out today.
Yeah, we didn't go into like this policy, this, or, our hair wasn't on fire.
I think our patrons appreciate that. For the episodes that are on Patreon, like I feel like having these kind of conversational podcasts are enjoyable.
Well, I enjoy them because it doesn't necessarily always have to be like in the news. It's kind of like, damn, bro, why the fuck John Legend, or why these people, these DJs or these entertainers think everything's racist, and why do they just be like, I have to raise my daughter in a country that doesn't protect her reproductive rights? It's like, wait. So you don't want grandchildren? Is that what you're tweeting?
Oh, that's a good way to look at it too. And for those 1 or 2 episodes that we do break all those stories down, it's like you need another 1 or 2 to just dissect all the stories we talked about to try to make sense of them. Because if you think about it, if the content is like what's in the news, what's the stories, what's trending, you need some time to break that shit down too, because it's pretty complex depending who's watching and listening.
Absolutely. So, hey, please tell a friend. This has been RPT. I will see you guys in Chicago, August 31st. Let your peoples know we coming to Chirac. Get your tickets now at chingobling.com. And let everybody know about the Discord because it's crack-a-lacking. I los watch you. Peace.